how to get over a breakup. And when we talk about breakup, it's not just about, okay, I was dating somebody and we broke up, but we're talking about any relationship that's been lost in our lives. But sometimes those relationships can be through the death of a loved one. Sometimes it could be my best friend moved from one city to another and we don't have the same level of contact. This not only applies to a breakup of a significant relationship, it also applies to any type of loss in a relationship and actually how to get over it. One of the things that was taught to me early on was that it's easy to open up a new door if you close the first door. And what that means is that if I have a relationship, say I was really hurt by a woman in my life, and I never really closed that door, it would be really difficult for me to fully open it up with my wife because it's still unfinished. So in our past relationships, it's so important to close the doors so that we can open up new ones. We can really open up our heart towards the people that we desire to be close to. So here are the 3 steps to get over a breakup. You first need to acknowledge and externalize your pain about the loss. And I recommend that you write it down. So if there was a breakup, a loss, a death, is to write down what you're sad about, what you're hurt about, what perhaps you're angry about, why you feel lonely, what you're in pain about. And when we talk about pain, pain is any uncomfortable emotion. We have a variety of emotions. If it's uncomfortable, then we put it in the category of pain. So in a breakup, you want to acknowledge and externalize all the different emotions that you're having about it. And it really helps to write. Now, in our process, it really helps to write from the 3 perspectives, right? To write what my protector thinks and perhaps why that part's angry, what my wound, oh, I feel abandoned, I feel this, I feel, and from a true self perspective. So the first step is to acknowledge and externalize your pain by what? Giving it a voice, right? HollyKem's painting behind us, which is what? I have a voice. No, the other way. Yeah. By giving it a voice, right? The second step is to do an inventory of that relationship. Now, this is how to really close the door. When you do an inventory, you write down 2 things. You write down some of the experiences that were, or as many of the experiences that you remember that were difficult or painful. So I remember this incident and it was very difficult or painful, and I felt hurt or sad or angry about it. I remember this incident. I remember that incident. I remember that experience. Is doing an inventory just like if you were a grocery store and you wanted to take stock of everything you had in the store, you would see what was on the shelves so that you can understand what your inventory is. In the same way, in a relationship, you want to do an inventory of the experiences. The first part is just writing down the experiences that flow. Say I lost a grandparent that I was close to, and I was to do an inventory of that. I would just start to write about them and remembering experiences and any difficult experience. Oh, yeah, I remember when that happened. I'd write it down. Oh, I remember when that happened. I'll write it down. Oh, yeah, I remember that happened. So first you write down the difficult or painful experiences. And then secondly, you write down the things that you are grateful for. Because in any relationship, if it's a human relationship, it's going to be a combination of both, right? And sometimes it's a lot more positive than negative. Sometimes a lot more negative than positive. Oftentimes it's both kind of equally. But it doesn't matter, whatever comes to mind. So after you write down the painful ones, then you write down the ones that you appreciate. I remember when we did this together. I remember that you taught me this. I remember that you did this. I appreciate that you supported me during this time. I appreciate. So you write down all the things that you appreciate about that relationship and that you're thankful for. And then the third step is you share that inventory with a trusted person, a trusted friend. It could be a professional. It could be your best friend. It could be a family member that you feel very close to, someone that's trusted, that loves you, that's willing to sit and listen, and you just go through it. And as you externalize that, as you give it a voice, as you take it from inside of you and inside of you to outside of you, what it does is it closes the door. And it does it in an honoring way. You know, when we look at the funeral service, that's a lot of what we do at the service, isn't it? Oh, we usually don't say the bad stuff, the difficult stuff, but there's an honoring of going, oh, I remember when this happened, and I appreciate this, and this story is told, and this. There's a reflecting of that. Why do we do that? To help us close the door on the relationship. Not that we're closing it to forget it, but we're closing it emotionally so I can actually hold on to it. It's the ones that have not been dealt with emotionally, that have been very painful, are the ones that we don't honor. There was somebody that passed away that I had so much pain associated with it that hasn't been worked through. I'm not going to their gravesite and honoring them. In fact, I try to avoid the town that they're buried in, kind of thing, because it remembers. No, it's when I work through it, then I can go and properly honor, if it's called for, the individual that the relationship is broken with. But the important thing is not just about them at that point. The most important thing is I need to do the things to clear my heart so that I can embrace the relationships that I have today, to be the most loving person I can be today. And when I honor losses like that, when I honor the losses and gains and the different things that a person in a relationship I've had, then what enables me to do, finish, close the door, be able to move on with a sense of appreciation. And it's actually a great act of self-love when we do this. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes emotional processing, it takes externalizing, it takes attention, but it's well worth it. So there's the 3 steps. I'll just reiterate. One is that you need to acknowledge and externalize the emotions that you have connected to that relationship. 2, you take an inventory, the painful and the best, and you're thankful for the best. Externalize the painful experiences if there were. And then 3rd, share it with a trusted friend. And then we close the door.